Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Right now we're at Minneapolis Airport, Terminal 1, and we're shutting it down. We got thousands of people out here. We're saying, ICE, go home. It's a citywide day of strike action, no work, no school, no shopping, using the power of the working class to kick ICE out of Minnesota. And if they don't leave after today, we need to strike again, but even bigger. Get more workers out, more co-workers organized to shut the city down even more. But the reality is, even when we do kick ICE out of Minnesota, they're going elsewhere. Right now, ICE is in Maine, called Operation Catch of the Day. It's disgusting and it's racist. So socialist alternatives out here talking about the need to strike again in Minnesota if ICE doesn't leave here, and to build for a national strike to shut down ICE and Trump's whole far-right, billionaire-backed agenda for good. Solidarity.
My friends, welcome. It is the Saturday morning extravaganza, your Saturday vibe. Have that first, second cup of coffee with us this morning. You can even have the third or fourth cup if you are so inclined. Yes, the strike in Minneapolis will certainly be... Maine has catch of the day. Catch of the day. It's racist. Catch of the day is... So, yes, we'll be dealing with the situation in Minnesota. But of immediate concern to many Americans is what's happening with the weather today. A mix of snow, ice, bitter cold heading for more than 180 million people across a vast stretch of the heartland and even of some of the cities. New York City, Kathy Hochul in New York has declared a state of emergency. The new mayor there, the Kami Mondami, is the new mayor of the city, Zoran Mondami, will face his first test of mayor if this turns out to be a storm of significance. For those of you in New York, and I know the world doesn't center around New York, but New Yorkers, and I am one. I'm a New Yorker, even though transplanted else. But they think of themselves as we're it. But those of you old enough to remember, New York had a Republican mayor decades and decades and decades ago. They have had two that most people know. Rudy Giuliani was one, but the other Republican mayor was John Lindsay. He lasted one term. What drove Lindsay out of office was the lack of response to the city to a massive blizzard. And people were so enraged at the lack of response from the city, it took in some cases over a week to clear snow in place. They threw him out of office. That was it for him. And he was an interesting character. He was, I think today, if you go back and you look at his history, a lot of Republicans could learn a lot from John V. Lindsay. But anyway, it is more than just New York. This thing is, Texas has already declared weather emergencies. If you live anywhere in an area where it's already snowing, where there's ice, we're supposed to be getting power outages across. They're expecting it. Power outages across many parts of the nation. First of all, be safe. People have been hoarding groceries and stocking up groceries and other essentials for the last few days in response to the news media sort of indicating that this will be a massive storm of the century. Now, those of us that have lived through winter storms before, sometimes winter happens. Over 9,000 flights have been canceled across America for both today and tomorrow. So if you had travel plans, if your airports are open, even if you are in areas where the storm is not affecting, you better check with your airline to see, number one, are they going to your destination? If you show up at the airport, perhaps you might be, depending on where you're going, make provisions to stay there a long time, because when you have this many flights out, it is going to be a very, I'm just looking at a headline. How much more snow to expect in West Palm Beach? What? What? I don't think it's supposed to snow. I think this is just, what is it? Is this from the New York Times? It is. Yeah. Anyway, winter is here. And we're not even in February yet. Now, on today's program, we have 48 pieces of audio to choose from. There's no way we can get to it all, but we're going to try to get to as many as we can. Princess Diana, on last week's program, gave us a new acronym. I had something planned with the LL, the liberal, blah, blah, blah. I scratched it. Can't use it after Princess Diana came up with her acronym, which is so much better and describes it. The acronym is AWFL. And affluent white female liberals. We have a plethora of them today on all sorts of issues. Just to give you a hint at some of them, the AWFLs. Let's just go to 15, Matt. Let's just give you a little hint. Here's one just to lead off. And what is the AWFL? This is a prime example of an AWFL.
So I just went to my congressman's office and I was very well spoken and I said what I needed to say, but it was so scary. No one was there. It was just me. And I voiced my concerns and demanded that they impeach Trump. And it was not easy, but I'm not going to sit by anymore. And I just want to come on here to encourage everyone else. Even if you're scared, go do it. This is not okay. We have to change. We have to.
I just went to my congressman's office, and I'm crying now on social media because I'm crying because I went to an office. Nobody was there, but I spoke my piece, and I was so scared. We have to impeach Trump. I'm so scared. It's so scary. But folks, we have to just be scared, and we have to go to our congressman's office and tell them they have to impeach Donald Trump. Oh, let me make sure I'm recording myself crying so I can put it on social media. Okay. We have others. Let's see. We also have yesterday I spent some time, and I was quite angry yesterday, folks, at this latest exploitation in the move to demonize ICE. 5-year-old boy abandoned by his father as ICE was trying to apprehend the father. The father gets out of the vehicle, leaves the 5-year-old kid. The ICE agents do everything they can to make this kid, who's obviously scared, 5-year-old kid, to treat this kid not just humanely, but treat him with love. Make sure the kid has something to eat, calm him down. They tried to reunite him with his mother. No one answered the door over there, even though there were people there, because apparently, who knows, they might be afraid of ICE for some reason. That whole thing just really bugs me. Eventually, the father said, you know what, can you reunite me with after he abandoned his child, can you unite me with my child. Yes, they're both being held in detention now. And because the idea is you don't separate the families like the Democrats used to do under the Flores Agreement, which Democrats, Bill Clinton, separate the families, make sure, because we don't want children staying in ICE facilities. So they separated the families. So now the left has turned this whole thing into ICE is using the kid as bait. They kidnapped the child, the usual stuff. I was livid, and I am still livid at the way that is being handled. ICE is being demonized like we've never seen any law enforcement operation in America, or law enforcement officials being demonized. It is horrible what they are doing. And that is not to say that ICE is perfect. That is not to say that there haven't been mistakes made. That is not to say that there are not cases where an ICE agent has acted inappropriately. I mean, there's one that's in the New York Times, and I don't know whether it's inappropriate or not. An agent was off duty and got into a scuffle with one of these people that's following him as he just tries to get gas. They've been spit on at gas station, objects thrown at them. They've been doxxed. And I'm not saying that there isn't a case where maybe an agent has reacted to all of this hatred and misery. But what ICE has been doing is so effective. The number of criminals that they have apprehended, the number of child rapists, pedophiles, sexual abusers, domestic violence, down to even terrorists and people that appear to be spies from other nations in this country. They are doing a remarkable job, given that Joe Biden and his administration let 11 million people in this country, largely unvetted, don't know who they are. We reported this week the murder rate in America is down. Folks, it's down to 100-year low in just 1 year since Donald Trump took off. We haven't had murder rates going as low as in 100 years in this country. And it's astounding. It's astounding what has happened. The transformation in terms of Washington, D.C., from an unsafe city to a safe city is astounding. None of that is being reported on. None of that is being celebrated. None of that is, hey, attaboy, attagirl for the ICE agents and the law enforcement agents who are making this country safer. Instead, we get this continued beatdown of ICE agents, and it is infuriating. And law enforcement, it is infuriating what is happening here.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Folks, on today's program, we're looking forward to hearing from Princess Diana. We're looking forward to hearing from Lizzie Rattoballi, our very own Lizzie Rattoballi, and we're looking forward to hearing from America's small caffeinated mom, Rhonda Shrouck. Now, we started off with a soundbite from the mass protest that happened, and you look at it was huge in Minnesota. Normal people that live in Minnesota had the day off. They could go shopping to places that were open and not be harassed. They could go to restaurants and not have to worry about who their wait staff was. So the normal people in Minnesota got a day off. The liberals were unhinged, invading airports, out, as you heard this protester say, shutting down their businesses. Good. I hope they do more of it. Peter Schweitzer, who has a new book, and hopefully we're going to have Peter. I've been texting Peter. We're going to have him on the show pretty soon, either the weekday show or the Saturday show. Peter Schweitzer, for those of you that don't know, has just done amazing work following the money and following other things that are not reported in the mainstream news. Peter Schweitzer, in an interview, had some interesting things to say about how some of these, how and why we're seeing what we're seeing with the pushback for immigration. And here he is.
I started running across these quotes by senior Mexican officials. And I thought, this is just crazy. I mean, do they really mean this? And I kept finding them. I'll give you an example of one that I found very early on. This is from one of the most powerful senators in Mexico. He's a member of the Morena party, the ruling party. He sits on the National Defense Committee, which is the most powerful committee in the Mexican Senate. And he said just a couple of years ago, quote, Mexicans are in our territories. California, Nevada, Texas, Utah, New Mexico, Arizona, Kansas, Oklahoma, Colorado, and Wyoming. We're going to take back the territory that was stolen from us. And another one, this is from a government report in December of 2024 by one of Scheinbaum's top aides. Writes in this government report, quote, we already know that the Mexican population in the United States reaches 39.9 million. We Mexicans are reclaiming our territory. So I looked at this and I thought, okay, well, this is just a bunch of bravado from, blowhard Mexican politicians. And then I started looking at what is the apparatus that Mexico has in the United States. And I found that, the United Kingdom and China have 6 and 7 consulates.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
But this AI music is out here. And more of it's coming. But to me, I had a friend that turned me on to his stuff he's doing. I said, you know what? This sounds formulaic, though. After a minute, it's all formulaic. And you could release this and some people would buy it and some people would go for it, but it's missing something. And that something is that spark of individual creativity. I wonder what Lizzie thinks about AI music. We got to ask her. Anyway, before the break, we started playing Peter Schweitzer. We want to play it again because we didn't get to the money part of it. So, folks, this is Peter Schweitzer. Oh, my goodness. I'm hearing reports now from people around the country. And if you're around the country, you can give us a call, no matter where you are in these United States of America. I'm hearing from people that are in various parts of the states. Good morning. We'll be in the thick of it. Pray for us. We are praying for you. People that live in the Carolinas are going to get people all over. This thing is affecting over half the country is going to be in this storm in one way or another today. So, yes, let's keep those prayers up and let's pray that people get through this safely and that it is not the horrific event for many people that is being forecast. But we started with the Peter Schweitzer. Didn't get to the money quote. And so we want to play it again. This is important, people. You want to know how these protests that are happening, like are happening in Minnesota, are happening? Listen to the whole thing and also listen to the rationale that is being offered in Mexico by senior politicians as to what's happening with their illegal immigration, which the Mexican government is complicit with, by the way, and so is the United Nations, into the United States. I've been using the number, there are almost 40 million illegal immigrants in the United States. It seems to be confirmed by some of the thinking that's going on in Mexico as well. So let's listen to Peter Schweitzer again, and hopefully we're going to have Peter on the show real soon.
I started running across these quotes by senior Mexican officials. And I thought, this is just crazy. I mean, do they really mean this? And I kept finding them. I'll give you an example of one that I found very early on. This is from one of the most powerful senators in Mexico. He's a member of the Morena party, the ruling party. He sits on the National Defense Committee, which is the most powerful committee in the Mexican Senate. And he said just a couple of years ago, quote, Mexicans are in our territories. California, Nevada, Texas, Utah, New Mexico, Arizona, Kansas, Oklahoma, Colorado, and Wyoming. We're going to take back the territory that was stolen from us. And another one, this is from a government report in December of 2024 by one of Scheinbaum's top aides. Writes in this government report, quote, we already know that the Mexican population in the United States reaches 39.9 million. We Mexicans are reclaiming our territory. So I looked at this and I thought, okay, well, this is just a bunch of bravado from, blowhard Mexican politicians. And then I started looking at what is the apparatus that Mexico has in the United States. And I found that, the United Kingdom and China have 6 and 7 consulates respectively. Mexico has 53. And I started looking at what Mexico is doing with those consulates, and I found out that they're organizing protests. They're still organizing some of these anti-ICE protests. They've got a consulate up in the Twin Cities right now that's neck deep in what's going on in Minneapolis. But I also found that they were meddling in our politics. They were literally meeting with Democratic Party activists in 2024 saying, how are we going to stop Trump? We got to stop Trump. We turned California from red to blue. We turned Arizona from red to blue. We've got to stop Trump.
Folks, this is astounding. Now, just so you know, if you are an American and you go to Mexico and you are caught meddling or interfering, even protesting the Mexican government, you can be expelled from the country. You can be thrown in jail. You are not allowed. You're not allowed to buy property in certain places in Mexico because you're a non-citizen. They do not allow your child to go to school. You don't get government health care in Mexico if you're there illegally. All of these things that happen here that Mexico is supporting. And now we learn 53 consulates, and they are actively meeting with Democrats, helping to organize these massive anti-ICE protests. We haven't heard a word of any of that in the mainstream media, and why not? Leave it to Peter Schweitzer to start digging and finding this stuff out. You've never seen this in the mainstream media, the people that are supposed to be telling you or informing you of the news and all aspects of the news. No, you get sob stories that actually are designed to make people hate ICE and to hate the idea that we're enforcing our own laws in this country. This is huge, and if the Mexican government is interfering with our politics and the Mexican government is actually helping to foment dissent in this country, there needs to be a very strong response. Very strong. Directed at the corrupt Mexican government, and they've been a corrupt government for decades, as long as I've been alive. The problems that have gone with the Mexican government have gone on unaddressed on the world stage. We are talking about a country riddled with corruption from top to bottom, no matter who's in power. It's time to get serious with this stuff, folks. Alex in New York is on the telephone, has been waiting. Good morning, Alex. Welcome to the Saturday Morning Extravaganza. How are you?
Good morning. Listen, I think what Donald Trump needs to do at the State of the Union speech, these Democrat elected officials that are complaining about ICE and they want to unmask ICE and they want to take away their drivers and not have them work in their states because they're enforcing the 1996 immigration laws that Democrats and Republicans and Bill Clinton signed into law. Donald Trump should say, hey, Democrats, if you don't like the law, stop attacking ICE, put a new bill forward. What do you want to do with the 20 million, 30 million people that are here? What do you want to do with them? You have the power. Change the law that I'm enforcing, which was passed in 1996. Tim Walz was in Congress when Barack Obama was deporting people. Hey, Tim, if you didn't like the immigration law, why don't you put a bill forward when you were a congressman to change the law? These Democratic elected officials, these congressmen and senators, need to be held accountable. Instead of attacking ICE, said, hey, you have the power, put a bill forward and change the immigration laws. I ran on this, and I'm enforcing the immigration laws that was passed in 96.
Well, that sounds reasonable, which is why it won't happen, because what you're asking for is for Democrats to work within the system. Look, Alex, what is underneath all of this is they don't want it changed. Democrats realize if we actually changed the laws, well, I mean, we could change the laws and just give everybody a pass, but that's not going to happen, and they know that. There's not going to be a pathway to citizenship that allows 40 million people to stay with no Republicans, if they ever signed on to it, number one is political suicide. They'd be thrown out of office. It's not going to happen. So Democrats understand something. Illegal immigration helps their party. It's that simple. Why do you think they have sanctuary cities? Because they derive power from it. They derive power from it because the more people in these sanctuary cities, the more congressional seats they have. It's that simple. The more money they have, the more cheap labor they have. This doesn't benefit America. It benefits Democrats to keep the illegal. Why would any party not be happy at the lowering of crime rates in America? Democrats are not happy about it. America is being made safer day by day, and these people are complaining every inch of the way. Why? Because they derive political power from what hurts America and what hurts average citizens in America. Their own power is at stake. And at power, when their power is at stake, there's also money at stake. Ask yourself, how can a woman with 24 or 240 or $24 or something in a bank account end up with $30 million in just a few years of being in Congress? Ask yourself that question, and don't ask it just on one side of the aisle, by the way. Before MTG left Congress, there were reports that she came out of Congress with over $25 million. Now, some of it fundraising, and she was a very aggressive fundraiser. Very aggressive. So her money may not be illegit. Maybe Omar's money is not illegit. But we need to find out, how are these Congress people going into Congress 2-3 years later, they're coming out multimillionaires? And this has been happening for decades, and it's been happening with both parties. Harry Reid, I remember him. He always claimed poor. This guy ended up coming out multi-millionaire. Another one. Huge land deals that were never really looked into. That he was there was so much conflict of interest. Look at all that happens when you start saying, hey, maybe Congress people shouldn't trade in stocks. Nancy Pelosi, prime example. Nancy Pelosi is a better stock trader than Warren Buffett, than almost any other stock trader alive, if you look at the success that the Pelosi family has had with stocks since she's been in power. And you wonder why they can't pass a bill saying, hey, you're in Congress, you're making the laws that affect these businesses. No, you don't get to trade stocks. Nope, they won't do it. This is not just a one-party thing, but the power that is derived from illegal immigration benefits the Democrats, and that's why they don't want to stop no matter how many Americans are hurt by it.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
You know what, ladies and gentlemen, I said we'd have the awfuls. We're going to be featuring them all day today. In case you didn't know what the awful is, Princess Diana came up with the term affluent, white, female liberals. Here's one right now.
I have come to realize my mental illness is America. America is my mental illness, my depression, my anxiety, my hopelessness, my want and desire to just give up and say F it all, my anxieties, America. Because the minute I want to start living life and be excited to live life and get out of here and get a new job and want to do all these things, wait, where do I live? America. The job market's down, unemployment rates are up, everything's just spiraling along with this.
Nope.
I want to get out of here. I want to start actually living my life and be excited to live life. But I can't do that here in America. It's all just, it feels like I waited too long now at this point to try and make life better, to try and get excited to live life, to try and get re-inspired, to try and like actually chase the things I want to do. It feels like the clock has run out on that because every day America is becoming more and more of a black hole, and so is my mind.
Every day, America's becoming more of a black hole, and so is my mind. I can't get up and go find a job. You know why? America. America is my mental illness. I don't have any drive. I don't have any ambition. You know why? America. America is my mental illness. And I can't even move anywhere because I don't know where to move. And then let's summarize today's awful so far. We had, I went to my congressman's office. It was so scary. I went alone and there was nobody there. But I spoke my mind to nobody. But it was scary. Impeach Trump. Impeach Trump. And then we have, America is my mental illness. I can't do. These are the awfuls, folks. Thank you, Princess Diana, for this term. We're going to use this term, and we're going to figure out how to bring this term to more attention. The awfuls. Affluent white female liberals. We got, just so you think we're not racist, we also got the ABWs, too. I don't hear anybody objecting to that. We have the ABWs, too, just so you know, the angry black women. We got some of them, too, coming up. But the awfuls, I'm telling you, we have a few more coming up. All right. Let's see. Do we have time to take a quick call? We do. Carlotta is calling from Massachusetts. We got about a minute for you, Carlotta, but wanted to get you in.
Okay, well, you have to add men to that group, too. I was in Wellesley yesterday, and at most of the red lights, there were groups of ICE protesters in their Canada Goose jackets, okay? And when you stop to the light, they look normal. But they had signs, honk. If you didn't honk, their faces changed. They looked through their windshield at you with such hate. Of course, they're too civil to shoot you. But it was just amazing that you actually saw them change at every light. You stopped, they were like not too normal-looking people, but at least not violent. And if you didn't honk, as their signs directed you to, they looked at you with just utter hatred.
So the protesters are out, and your governor in Massachusetts, Governor Healy, she's another one that is just pretty much encouraging people to do what they can to stir up hatred and more hatred for ICE. I'm telling you, folks, and Carlotta, thank you, by the way, for that firsthand account of what it's like in Massachusetts. In Maine, you're seeing the same thing. You're seeing the same thing. You saw it in Charlotte. You saw it but you're not seeing it in other places, like in Louisiana where ICE was there. Welcomed in. We got to go. Hour number 2 coming up.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome to our number duo, my friends. Hour 2 of the 3-hour Saturday morning extravaganza. Our number duo, we check in with Red Apple Audio Network's star anchorette. She's the voice of her generation, and every week we look forward to seeing the things that Lizzie has found for us. This one is going to be AI heavy, I got to tell you, because AI is just, it's so everywhere. Good morning, Lizzie. How are you?
Good morning, Bo. Good morning. I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to be here, and I have to thank you for putting some of these stories on my radar this week.
Well, there was some, Lizzie, Lizzie, have you heard AI music? I was talking about that in the last hour. A friend of mine, musician friend, starting to use AI with the music, and he's sending me stuff. Lizzie, it's amazing what it's able to do. At the same time, I have mixed feelings about it.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I also have a friend who does music, and they have been using the AI to do like duets with, and yeah, I'm not sure if I I get it. It's hard to find another artist to collaborate with, but isn't that the point of collaborations? It's like you build something together, two artists coming together, and now it's just like one artist and a robot. Like, what? Take that act on the road, sure.
Well, I mean, people have taken lip syncing on the road.
Shout out Milli Vanilli, right?
Yay. All right, so a new report says screen time limits for children are no longer enough. This was released by, the guidance was released by the American Academy of Pediatrics. And it talks about the kids that are growing up in this increasingly, as they say, digital world. It's affecting their sleep, their learning, their mental health. And the American Academy of Pediatrics is saying the screen time limits are no longer enough. And you've been talking about this and warning us of what is happening. How do you see this playing out, Lizzie?
Well, it's pretty, the outlook, not so good is what the 8-ball, I just shook it and it's giving me that answer. Remember 8-balls? Remember when you didn't have to ask ChatGPT for a prediction or whatever? Now, you used to just have a physical thing that you shook. Well, actually, screen time limits are not enough. We now, a lot of, pediatricians and a lot of mental health professionals are coming out saying that we need to understand why people are on these devices, why people are spending so much time on these devices, and also offer alternative, healthy options over, the doom scrolling. That's the endless scrolling that people do on social media. And I do want to just mention the guy who invented endless scroll, the technology of the endless scroll. I saw him in a documentary. He talks about that technology like he's Robert Oppenheimer, like he invented the atomic bomb. And honestly, I think I could make an argument that the endless scroll is our generation's atomic bomb. Like, it has decimated areas of connectivity because social media, like I said last week, it was built to be this great unifier, this space where it was supposed to be democratizing. It was supposed to give everyone a voice, everyone a platform. And now more and more, it's just increasingly a place of isolation, polarization, and just bad vibes overall. This article that comes from ABC News about the limits on screen time, it goes into how this report also encourages a better investment in public resources that, help out families, like libraries, parks, and community spaces. Third spaces is becoming a trending topic online because with these moral panics like TV and stuff, your TV doesn't send you any notifications. Computers were sitting in a room. They were stationary a lot of the time. The entire family had access to them if they could use them. So this moral panic of phones, I think it is fair, and this technology is completely unprecedented. So we have to go about how we deal with this rapid technology, this rapidly developing technology, in a innovative way. I mean, I think back.
I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
Parenting.
That would
doesn't
be
involve
nice.
Government. Put
Right?
the damn phone down. Put your iPad down. You're going out. You're going to go play.
Yeah.
You're going to go to the gym. You're going to do some sports. You're going to do some art. You're going to do something other than sit here in front of your digital world.
Yeah.
How's that?
No, and
parenting.
I agree 1,000%. That's part of the problem, is that these kids who are spending all the times on the screens, their parents are just as guilty, and their parents are
I was about to say, but that would mean the parents have to put down their screens too.
Yeah. So it's like, who's gonna give up first? Who's gonna give up the devices first? I think it should be the adults. The adults should start to limit their screen time. I know that was one of my New Year resolutions, was to limit my screen time, and it has been down. So I've been doing pretty good on that. I've been limiting. Yeah, but spend some time outside, pick up a book, read, and touch grass.
What's that? What's that? Is that like one of those CD things? A job applicant sued to open black box of AI hiring decisions. Now, a lot of people will hear that headline, not know what the hell we're talking about here. Job applicant sued to open black box of AI hiring decisions. Simplify this for us, Lizzie. What New York Times ran this story? I sent it to you this week because I saw it. I immediately thought of you. What is going on with this one?
Okay, so black boxes, that refers to these AI screeners. A lot of people, when you apply to a job online, you notice that you don't hear anything back. Anecdotally, that is the biggest complaint when it comes to the job market, that I send out all these applications and I hear absolutely nothing. So the AI screeners that these companies are using simply just go through their resumes and, make sure that they have any keywords in their job descriptions or in their past occupations that it matches up, like that they're a good match. This AI technology, though, like we've talked about, we know that AI is not always right. They are prone to inaccuracies. So now what a lot of officials want to do is actually have those AI screening tools be subject to the same Fair Credit Reporting Act requirements as like credit card companies, as credit agencies. So essentially you would have access to why your resume or why your application got thrown out.
Yeah. I'll wait to see whether that happens or not.
But yeah, I'd like to see something like that, because, credit card companies, they're upholding to the law. And just because there's an omission of language for AI companies in the law, that doesn't mean that they're an exception. We know that AI messes up. We know that it makes mistakes. We should be able to, check those mistakes, monitor those mistakes, and then have the opportunity to then possibly appeal them, because that's what you could do with a credit report. If you notice anything that's a little fishy, you can go and appeal that. You cannot do that when you're trying to fight for a job and you're fighting against a robot, you're fighting against other applicants, you're just trying to get notice, and then that robot is just completely ignoring you, throwing out your application. I mean, there is a class action lawsuit that was filed 2 years ago against another AI company for their job screening for discrimination. So there's biases built into these AI screeners. And something that I want to point out is that a lot of like the AI crowd, the pro AI crowd, the argument is that, we've trained these computers to think like a human. That's just what a human would do. Well, a human has to answer to this. These robots are just in this room, completely untouched, completely above the law. So I think that these robots have to answer for their actions.
Well, there is a lawsuit, Eightfold AI, that sells the technology as a tool to these employers to do this, is now being sued. And so we'll see whether they are going to have to, whether there is going to be some accountability for the way that they said. And this is just the infancy of this. This is just the opening stages of this.
Exactly.
And in schools, it's an opening stage, too. I see you sent me a story this morning, Alaska student arrested for eating another's AI work. What the heck?
Yeah, no, this is an incredible story. This guy is my hero. This student, he's a 19-year-old freshman in the film and performing arts at the University of Alaska Fairbanks campus. He was charged for apparently tearing down the artwork of another student and eating it in a protest. He chewed up and spit out artwork made by another student who was in the Master of Fine Arts program. It was apparently pinned to the wall. He admitted to eating that artwork because it was AI generated. I wish we had a direct quote from him, but the article that I found only got a quote from the artist whose work was eaten, who he describes his work as one that explores identity, character narrative creation, and crafting false memories of relationships in an interactive role digitally crafted before, during, and after a state of AI psychosis. Now, I do find that subject matter for his art. Yeah, AI psychosis. That's this phenomenon. AI psychosis is not yet in the DSM, the Diagnostic Statistic Manual, that's used by a lot of, therapists and psychiatrics. professionals to diagnose mental illnesses. AI psychosis, not in there yet, but it will probably soon, probably will be soon, because AI psychosis is this idea that talking to an AI chatbot could lead you into thinking that you're God, that you're, a multitude of things. People go crazy when they talk to this ChatGPT or any of these language learning models. There are cases of people kind of going nuts. So that's something that we're going to have to deal with on the forefront of mental health. AI psychosis. How exciting. How exciting. Oh, and also I do want to point out in this story, prosecutors say 57 of his works only valued $250. Oof.
Oh!
Oof. Not good for the AI art market.
Not so far. But we're only at the beginning. Oh, Lizzie. Always great. Lizzie, thank you so much for being with us. Lizzie, we look forward to checking in with you next week.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure, Bo.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Snerdley with you here on our Saturday morning extravaganza, your Saturday morning vibe. Bill Maher, ladies and gentlemen, is predicting that, let me get the quote right, that Republicans are going to get the dog kicked out of them. The dog poop kicked out of them in the midterm elections. And it's all going to center around immigration. Bill Maher says this is not what people voted for. Showing his panelists on the show pictures of people in the hands of immigration enforcement agencies. He also called the shooting of Renee Good a public execution. So, Republicans are going to get, and he says to my Republican friends, you know this didn't have to happen. You know Good wasn't trying to run the guy over. Well, I know no such thing. And these, Bill Maher, sometimes she says some things that I agree with, sometimes she doesn't. But I think if you look at it from the way that the media is spinning public relations, this looks like it could be a tough issue, the way that they've demonized ICE. And to counter that, I suggest Republicans had better start not just waiting until we get close to the election to start making their case. They need to actually explain to the American people through ads, whether they be online ads, and they need those too. They need television ads. They need to be all over the place, not just explaining what's happening with ICE, but why. Why is this happening? Why do Democrats insist on keeping almost 40 million people in the country illegally? How do they benefit from it? It should be explained. They need to actually start, and you see them doing it in individual press conferences, holding up the pictures of some of the immigrants that are the illegal immigrants and illegal aliens that have been apprehended. But here's what's missing. Just like this picture of the 5-year-old standing outside a truck that Democrats and liberals are trying to make the most viral statement of this anti-law enforcement ICE campaign that they're doing, we need pictures of some of the victims of some of these illegal aliens and some of the crime scene photos and other photos of what the people have done that they have apprehended. Not just their pictures in orange jumpsuit, but pictures of the people that have been hurt. Documentaries, movies. We need to be flooding, the Republican Party needs to be flooding the marketplace in response to this with the truth of why this is happening. All of the truth. 100% of the truth, including the political power that Democrats derive from illegal immigration and also the fraud that accompanies it. And don't wait till October to start doing it. We're coming back.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Snerdley with you here Saturday morning. Extravaganza coming up on the show a little bit later on. Princess Diana coming up on the show a little bit later on. Also, America's small caffeinated mom, Rhonda Shrouck, right now coming up on the show is one of our favorite callers, Teddy, calling in from Yonkers, New York. First things first, Teddy, are you safe? Or do you have food stocked up? Are you good in case the lights go out? Are you okay, Teddy? Teddy? Where is Teddy? You mean to tell me I don't have... Hold on. We're going to go to Silas. See whether we can get Teddy back on the line. I don't know what happened to Teddy over there. Or let's see, Silas instead. We're having issues with the calls, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to figure out, is it a technical issue? It's not that people are not there. So in the meantime, while we work out the issues with the call system here, let us turn to another awful. I said we would have plenty, and we have plenty. Elias popped in. When Elias comes in, here we go. Elias, the man, just came in to deal with the situation. Anyway, Matt, it's time for another awful. In case you don't remember, ladies and gentlemen, last week, if you weren't here and you're just joining us, last week, Princess Diana gave us one of the most useful acronyms ever. Affluent, white, female liberals. Awful. And this one speaks for itself. By the way, I happen to know that the Countess of Conspiracy is listening. And dear Countess of Conspiracy, I think that this awful woman might have another conspiracy theory for you to ponder over, and many of you. Here we go, cut 16, our latest example of an awful. Affluent, white,
pregnant.
Female
Caroline
liberal.
Leavitt is pregnant. Katie Miller is pregnant. That's 3 high-profile MAGA women who recently announced pregnancies. I know MAGA wants some positive news, and babies seem positive. Who doesn't love babies? But this feels very calculated and very intentional. This party wants to push pregnancy and birth on women. It's part of their anti-abortion, pro-family crusade. But the thing is, these 3 high-profile pregnancies just point out the sheer hypocrisy of this administration. In her pregnancy announcement, Usha Vance praised the military doctors who are providing her with first-class health care. Meanwhile, her husband is stripping away health care from millions of Americans and raising insurance premiums on millions more. This will be Usha and J.D. Vance's 4th Indian American baby, a brown child who they'd have no issue detaining were he born to a different family. Katie and Stephen Miller are having their 4th baby in 5 years, modeling the breeding mentality they want from American women, pushing this trad wife culture that they themselves don't even take part in because Katie Miller is working a job as a podcast host. They push this idea of wanting women to stay home and run the household and raise the children, but that's not actually what they do. And that's the case with all social media trad wives, really. They're making 5, 6, 7 figures on their social media businesses while pretending that they don't work. And finally, Caroline Leavitt is pregnant with her 2nd child with her geriatric husband. Now, I want to talk about Caroline for a second, specifically with regard to the Vanity Fair article that came out. You know, the photo shoot that showed off her lip injection prick marks. Let me be clear about something. I don't care what procedures you have done. I don't care if you get filler or Botox or plastic surgery. I don't care if you swap your whole face. God knows Laura Loomer did. The thing that I want to point out is that Caroline Leavitt was pregnant when she took these pictures, which means she was pregnant when she got that lip filler. Something experts specifically warn against because it could be harmful to the fetus. The reason I bring this up is because this administration loves to tell women what to do with their bodies when they're pregnant, including telling people not to take Tylenol, even though it's one of the safest medications you can take during pregnancy. But those same rules don't apply to them. They're injecting neurotoxins into their faces while pregnant. It's a classic rules for thee but not for me mentality. And the hypocrisy doesn't end there. These 3 women are getting the best prenatal care our country has to offer, paid for by your tax dollars. They don't have to worry that they might bleed out in a parking lot or become septic while waiting for medical care. They don't have to worry about maternal mortality or exorbitant health care bills. They will have picture-perfect pregnancies because they will get the care that they are trying to take away from everyone else. These 3 pregnancies are already being touted as examples of the pro-family values this administration has, but we cannot be fooled into thinking that these pregnancies and these babies are not going to be used to push a right-wing political agenda.
Can I just tell you that these people are sick? These people are sick. They have way too much time on their hands, and they're sick. Very, very sick. Teddy, you're with us. Teddy, are you safe? Are you good? Or do you have enough food stocked up in case things go south? Well, go north with this storm.
The icebox is full.
Excellent.
I hope you're safe. I hope you're safe also. And
I am, Teddy.
Minimize any amount of traveling that you have to do. Just stay home and listen to the Temptations and the Four Tops. I wish you played them a little more often on the radio. The Temps were the best group ever. That includes the Beatles. They were the best group. David Ruffin and company were the best. I could listen to them all day and every day, especially during this snowstorm that we're going to get. Now,
and I love the Four Tops, too. I love all of that, and the Beatles. Now, you called in because you said it's time for what, the 25th Amendment? Is that what I read?
I sure did. And let me make a couple of specifics, okay? Trump is a bully to everyone except Putin. He kisses his tuchus. And you know what tuchus means, Bo.
Yeah, I know.
Okay?
I do. I have one.
And Bo, let me tell you this.
We all have one. Mm-hmm.
Any so-called peace agreement, if it ever exists, that Putin ever signs, he will never, ever fulfill it. He wants all of Ukraine.
What is he, a Democrat?
All of Ukraine and parts of Europe. And
is he a Democrat?
Smart not to realize that, Bo.
Is he a Democrat? You said he's never going to fulfill his agreements. Is he a Democrat?
No, he's not. He's a communist. He's
Same thing. So I guess the answer is yes. Now, let me just say this. What does all that have to do with Trump and the 25th Amendment?
He's mentally incompetent, okay? He doesn't speak well. He slurs his words. Biden was incompetent for the last 2 years. You can't criticize any Republicans, okay? They're nut jobs. They're right-wing nut jobs. I wish Howard Baker was reincarnated and come back, and he would say the same thing. Peggy Noonan, who is a Republican conservative and writes for the Wall Street Journal.
Debatable.
She is fantastic. You hear me?
She's all right. She's all right.
No,
she's all right.
She's all right. She's fantastic.
She's all right. I'd rather read Princess Diana any day over Peggy Noonan.
You hear me, Princess Diana? Peggy Noonan, you can't shine Peggy Noonan's toes.
Oh, please. Princess Diana aces over, and I'm not making, but because, whatever. We're not here to denigrate Peggy Noonan. She's, she had her day. She had her day.
She has her day.
Oh,
She's
had.
Brilliant.
I'm glad you like Peggy Noonan.
And I like George Will, too. And
Will is that
a
figures.
Republican.
He's not. He used to. He likes baseball, though, so you can't. I mean, the guy's, He used to get his undies in a wad. What's his name? George Wills, one of those guys that was at when Barack Obama first came in, went to dinner over at George Wills' house. There's where that other guy from the New York Times just went on and about what a big fan he was of Obama because he'd never seen a crease in anybody's pants like Obama's. That was at George Wills' house before Obama took office. They were all trying to chummy up with Obama. Yeah. Who, by the way, gave us one of the worst healthcare scams in American history that people are still paying for. But you said that Trump is not doing. You know, did you happen to see the? Teddy, did you see the press conference where Trump brought out the book of all his accomplishments? And it's a book.
Oh, it's a lot of crap. He's a narcissist. He's so insecure. Okay, he hasn't solved any wars, Poe. He hasn't solved our
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me ask you a question. Can you think of an American president who has been more consequential in 1 year than Donald Trump has this year?
He's caused a lot of problems. Okay.
I'm not asking you from that perspective. I'm asking you, can you think of another president that has been more consequential, whether you like what he's done or don't like, that has taken more actions that have influenced things? Can you think of another president that has done so much in one term?
1 term or 1 year?
1 year into his second term.
John F. Kennedy in 1 year.
Nope. Well, what did Kennedy do? Let's talk about that for a second. Bay of Pigs.
Reduce the taxes. Change the taxes.
Okay. No. I'm glad you said that. Because John Kennedy did what we call now supply-side economics. What your party now calls tax breaks for the rich. That's what John Kennedy did when he was in office. You do remember that, right?
Yes, Bo, I do.
Thank you. You know, John Kennedy would be a Republican today if you just look at his policies.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. And Robert F.
didn't
Kennedy,
like he was anti-communist, which means he's anti-Democrat Party now. He was for lower taxes. He said, higher tide lifts all boats. Lower those tax cuts make the tide of economy go higher. He definitely was for strong national defense, was not in favor of illegal immigration, didn't like the conspiracy theories, in fact, did a big speech about that, and was pro-law and order. That was your Jack Kennedy. And, by the way, was a military hero. Now, Donald Trump has caused a lot of problems. Can we admit that?
He sure has. He got out of the
especially
Vietnam War.
For the illegal immigrants and for the Democrats that support them. He's caused a lot of problems, especially for the scams that have been going on, where you have like $9 billion in counting scam dollars in Minnesota, and we haven't even gotten to the scams in California. We haven't gotten to the scams in Maine. We haven't gotten to the scams that they've been running with Obamacare. We're finding out all the money that's been spent for illegal immigrants with health care in states like California and all the rest. So, yeah, Donald Trump has caused a lot of problems for your side, Teddy. He has. Maduro.
Health plan?
Maduro. Bombed Iran or threatened Iran. Yeah, helped that whole Middle East situation. Yep, a lot of problems there.
Where is his promised health plan? He's been talking about that for years. And
I'm glad you asked. I will tell you where it is. He announced it. Did you hear the announcement? I played 5 minutes of it. He wants to give Teddy, calm down, take a breath, because this might help your blood pressure with the president's new health care plan. He wants to give you the money to spend instead of sending your money to the big insurance companies, which then give the money to Democrats for their campaigns. So instead of that, he wants to break up that little scam and send you the money so you could buy your own health care. Would you like to have the money to buy your own health care, Teddy?
What's he going to send? Peanuts? Okay,
no, he wants to send.
Peanuts?
He wants to send you enough money that you can buy the best health care plan that is affordable. We're talking thousands and thousands of dollars. Like, you know, right now, the Democrats pay the insurance companies whether you use Obamacare or not. The insurance companies get loaded, wealthy. And what Trump wants to do is instead give those thousands of dollars to you so you can go buy the best health care. You don't want that? You don't want that money?
I'll believe it when I see it, okay?
But would you like the money?
I have my own health plan. I don't
But
need
would you like the money to buy your health care of your choice if you had that option? Let's take Trump's name off of it. Just forget that I said it's Trump's. Would you like the government, instead of investing money on your behalf, to send you the money so that you can make the choice about your health care plan?
If it covered all of my needs, I would.
Yeah, if it covered all your needs, would you like that?
I would take it, yes.
Okay, thank you, because that's what's being proposed. Oh, by the way, you do know that John Kennedy was pro-life.
Sandra and Norm and Sherman, I want them to listen. Sherman,
I'm
you're
sorry,
an idiot.
what?
I
What?
want Sherman from Manhattan and Sandra.
I don't know these people, so stop. You call them on your time. I don't know those people. I thought you were talking about the Civil War, Sherman. I was about to say, yeah, but Sherman got through burning up Atlanta decades ago, hundreds of years. It was over 100 years ago. I thought you were going off on Sherman marching through Atlanta or something. Whew, I don't know Sherman. Anyway, Teddy, I got one last question for you.
Yeah.
Teddy, are you ready to admit yet that you're really a Republican?
Hell no.
Okay, Teddy. Teddy, can I just tell you one more thing?
And the coach of Andrew Jackson was not a Republican either.
Well, I don't care. I forget those days. I was there only 3 years and change. I even worked on my graduation night. I didn't show up at graduation night. I had a choice to make money or go to a ceremony. I made the money. I don't know what I spent it on, but I do remember that I did it. I have one other thing to say to you. Teddy, I love you. I want you to be safe. And by all means, you take your own advice. Don't go out unless you absolutely have to until the worst of the storm is over, okay?
Okay, thanks for taking my call.
I love you, Teddy. You have a good day.
You too.
Okay, bye-bye.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Okay, so we've heard from the awfuls today, the affluent white female liberals, and I promise you that we do also hear from the ABWs today. The ABWs today, the ABWs, the angry black women. Here's one. We got one for you. Here she is.
They are searching the prison system for ICE agents. They are so desperate for people as ICE agents. They're going and recruiting criminals. and no telling how many of these federal agents have criminal backgrounds. No telling. This whole agency needs to be shut down as a criminal organization.
Oh,
How are they supposed
really?
to be chasing criminals with criminals' background? What's the logic of that? Only a criminal can catch a criminal? And they're not even looking for criminals. They're criminals with no badges, faces cut, masks on their faces, going around asking people for identification. And they have no identification. We don't know who the hell they are. They're going up in schools, hospitals.
No, they're not.
And they've even caught agents with people in their rooms when they have rooms, ICE agents with immigrants in their rooms. What kind of people are they hiring? What kind? That whole agency needs to be shut the hell down.
That whole agency needs to be shut the hell down. I don't know where I'm getting this information from. They recruiting in jails. Yeah, they are. All right, thanks, babes. We got to go. Hour number 2 in the can, hour number 3 coming up. Whatever you do, keep it right here with us. Saturday Morning Vibe. Your Saturday Morning Vibe, the Saturday Morning Radio Extravaganza continues.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Our number trio is upon us, my friends. The Saturday morning radio extravaganza, your Saturday morning vibe. Our number uno in the can, our number duo in the can, our number trio, ladies and gentlemen, means one thing.
It's time for Radio Royalty with James Golden and America's Princess of Policy, Princess Di.
Ah, yes, ladies and gentlemen, she is the woman that coined the phrase that you will be hearing more of in coming weeks, the awfuls. Our very own Princess Diana, the Ness of all Nesses, her highness, her royalness, her beautifulness, Ness. Good morning, Princess. How are ya?
Oh, I am just so happy to hear your voice, Sir James Ness. I just want to say, though, I did not coin the term, but I had seen it around, and I just wanted to, focus on it. But that was not my invention.
So what? It's yours now.
Okay.
Because you're the one that brought it to my attention, so there you go. The awfuls. And we have been featuring them all morning.
And they are awful. Very apt.
Yes. Now, what do you think, by the way, of Bill Maher saying Republicans going to get the dog stuff kicked out of them in the midterms over immigration?
Well, I think that historically it is true that is the pattern, that whatever party holds the White House, he tends to lose seats in the midterms. That is the historical pattern. Very rare for that not to be the case. However, as I agree with you, it depends on the messaging from the Republican Party, which, of course, is always, if we're relying on the Republican messaging, we're in trouble. I think we all, as Trump supporters, have to do the messaging ourselves, because there is such a wonderful case to be made to keep the Republicans, at least to keep the Democrats out of power in the House. And that is a very important argument to make. And one of the things can be done is with photographs, because that is what the left uses, sob stories and photographs. Case in point, as you've been mentioning, this 5-year-old boy. Well, there are a lot of photos out there of the awful situation where the child trafficking evil people who drop kids at the border without any adults at all. And there are many, many photos of those poor kids. And that, I think, that argument needs to be made, that our guys are helping the situation. The Democrats don't care about children, as evidenced by 4 years of what they did to these kids.
Yeah, including, by the way, some of them, which we briefly talked about yesterday, some of these kids are surgically inserted with drugs.
Yep.
Just cut the kids open, stuff them with drugs, send them across the border, and then cut them again to get the drugs out. We don't see that stuff. No. And one of the more graphic things that I said yesterday, too, and I'm going to just repeat it again, and I'm sorry, but it's true. The same people now that are arguing that this poor child was separated when, in fact, he was abandoned by his father, the same people that threw a reporter in jail and then wanted to prosecute him and drive him into ruin for exposing the fact that babies in Planned Parenthood were being dismembered and their body parts were sold. Talk about separating children in a very literal sense. And yet, this is the same party that did not find anything wrong with that, but chose to go after the guy that exposed it. So These people are the last people that need to be lecturing the rest of the world on anything moral, but especially when it concerns children.
And you remember in the first Trump term, there was an incident where a young child was crying, and they, on Time magazine, put Trump on the cover with this child as if he was scolding her. Do you remember that famous
Yes.
cover story? It was they use these children as props, and they lie about the narrative of what actually happened. The child had nothing to do with immigration. It was just a momentary issue with the child's caretaker at that moment. And they had a photo, they used it, they exploited, and they're doing the same thing again. They know well that it is a lie, what they are saying, but they have a photo and they can make their narrative up, and then, it goes viral. So we all know the truth, and we have to tell it.
Now, speaking of the truth, we actually, I have been reading all week that Democrats were going to block the budget because of it had funding in it for the Department of Homeland Security. And so the Democrats going to go on the warpath. We're going to block this thing. There talks about a government shutdown. And what actually happened?
I think this is the most amazing, unreported, basically, story. I don't think a lot of people have even heard that the Republicans passed all 12 appropriations bills this week. They had passed a few before, but they have now, as of Thursday, passed all 12 appropriations bills, which no one predicted would be able. That is not an easy lift, and the Republicans have such a paper-thin majority, and there was a lot of doubt that Speaker Johnson could make this happen, and he did. And the laughable threats that were made, they voted on the DHS funding, including ICE, separately, because the Democrats wanted to make a last stand, and they wanted to basically prevent ICE from getting any funding, because that is, the left, one of their mottos is defund and abolish ICE, etc. They were not able to manage it because they had 7 Democrats vote with the Republicans. So the final vote, although close, was 220 majority to 207. So it actually passed pretty easily. And so all of the government is funded as far as the House is concerned. It went to the Senate on Friday, and this coming week, this is going to be voted on by the Senate before the January 30th deadline. So we have no shutdown, no continuing resolution, no omnibus package, no Obamacare subsidy extensions, none of that, no fight, no news. It just quietly, competently, all of it, all the budget has been passed through the House of Representatives.
Now, let me just add something. Right. This is miraculous.
Yes.
It is nothing. Now, people are like, what? Some people that don't understand. This is what regular order in the House of Representatives used to be. Yep. You get together, you pass the 12 different big appropriations bill. We haven't seen this happen in decades. This has gone on. We have been funding this government with these continuing resolutions, which lead occasionally to the government shutdown for years upon years. And people that follow this stuff in the weeds like me have been saying, can we please get back to regular order? Fund the government through the process that we're supposed to in Congress, the appropriations bill. As you said, Mike Johnson, who's always taking crap in the press for being weak and this, this guy actually gets stuff done. It may not be as much as he wanted, and believe me, they could be doing a whole lot more and should be doing a whole lot more. But this is huge. This hasn't happened in ages.
Well, it also is not on time. This was supposed to be done in October, but because of the government shutdown. But the fact that it was done this soon at all is what you're saying is miraculous. And so now we are on track to do it on time by October for next year's funding. And I will predict that that's what will happen.
Amazing. Now, I read through a story earlier in the week about the murder rate in America. It is at a 100-year low. We haven't seen the murder rate, the rates of murder, not the actual murders themselves, but the rate of murder in America is down low. And the New York Times, you say, is mystified by this? Not just the murder rate, but they're mystified by the crime stats.
Yes. I just have to read the headline from the New York Times on Thursday. What's behind the staggering drop in the murder rate? No one knows for sure. The headline in the New York Times, the quote-unquote paper of record, they cannot figure out why, and it's not 100 years, 125-year low in the murder rate, not since 1900. And so the New York Times is mystified and baffled of what could have caused such a thing. And, you know, they blame COVID. They said the spikes in crime began in 2020, but then they say crime was already declining before Trump office. And listen to this. Experts say there is little to justify any claim that President Trump is responsible for the 2025 drop in crime. The experts determined, it had nothing to do with his enforcing the law. And the 100% increase in violent crime arrests, the gangs that have been arrested and disrupted, and the 2,000 kilos of fentanyl seized, none of that, the 490% increase in FBI violent extremism arrests, 20% increase related to various networks, including the awful 764 network. And so the actual activity of our law enforcement agencies, which has been unreported because all that the news reports is on the supposed abuses by ICE. But I have to also remind you, do you remember Fox Butterfield and the Butterfield effect? Okay. Fox Butterfield was a reporter for the New York Times, and he wrote a famous headline in a similar mindset in November of 2004.
Oh, yeah.
The headline, despite drop in crime and increase in inmates.
I remember. Now.
We were incarcerating more people. And despite that, there was a drop in crime, and we're still imprisoning people. How can this be? And so this is now called the Butterfield effect, where liberals do not have the ability to understand cause and effect, and that when you lock bad guys up, when you enforce the law, there is a drop in crime. And this is why the New York Times, to this day, over 20 years later, is absolutely mystified as to what is behind this latest drop in crime. Because it can't possibly be what the Trump administration is doing.
I know, man, this is just insane. It's insane, Princess Di. They cannot even make a connection. Not to mention, by the way, dare I add one other thing that's helping to this whole murder rate. When you ship out illegal immigrants by the bucket loads that were let in without being vetted, that is also part of, not the whole thing, don't misunderstand liberals, but part of, and we keep hearing, these are the worst of the worst, the murderers. They emptied the jails to send people over here. We're sending them back. That also has an impact.
Yes, and I have to read a couple of other headlines in the same vein. And Axios in July says, no one knows precisely why migrant traffic along the U.S.-Mexico border has fallen so much.
Wow.
This is the left saying. The Washington Post in May said the mysterious drop in fentanyl seizures at the U.S.-Mexico border. They can't figure out why that the people who have been bombed out of the water and people who have been attacked and arrested are unable to ship fentanyl, which has resulted in a 20% drop in fentanyl overdoses in America. So the results of all of this effort on the Trump team's side has resulted in so many wonderful things for America, and many people are alive today who would have been the victim of murder. So there you have it, to the mysterious problem of the left that they cannot figure it out why. We know why.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And Princess Diana is here in the house. We're going to take some calls when we get back from the next break, which is going to come up soon. Princess and I will take some calls with you. So if you're on hold, stay on hold. And when you do get on, please get right to your point. But Princess, I want you to hear this Brit guy. You know, a lot of, after Trump at the World Economic Forum, a lot of complaints from Canada, from Keir Starmer over in the UK. Here's a British guy speaking about his feelings, Donald Trump.
These lads are sticking up for this country. If there were a war in this country, we'd be the first one there. So all I'm saying is, Mr. Donald Trump, please intervene.
What would you want Trump to do?
I want him to buy England like he wanted to buy Canada and make us the state that we're proud of.
You want to be part of the United States?
Yes.
Please intervene. Buy England. Make us the 51st state.
I'm sure there are a lot of people around the world who want Trump to intervene in their countries and make it better.
Absolutely. And then one of the other ones, I played it yesterday. I don't know what has gotten into Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent.
Hilarious.
Scott, the Treasury Secretary, you know how they have MTV Unplugged? Treasury Secretary Unplugged. I love the way that he's been going after, poor Gavin Newsom. He didn't get to speak at the USA House, and he complaining. It's just not fair. They didn't let him speak. Poor Gavin. Do you think that Gavin Newsom is at all being effective?
Absolutely, within his party, but not with the larger electorate. The Democrats, the activists, seem to love what he's doing, which is, in my book, embarrassing. He's very cringe. He's imitating Trump on the one hand, and he's, poking him on the other, and he has his social media team on it. I think it's embarrassing, and it won't get him far nationally. But within his party, yep.
Wow. Sparkle Beach Kin. Oh, boy. Princess Diana's here. We're going to take a few telephone calls. So if you're on hold, stay on hold. When you do get on, please get right to your point. Whatever you do, also, don't go away. Coming right back.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. James Golden Show.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Chris in the Catskills is on the phone. Chris, we got to have a short conversation today. We got to squeeze in some other people really quick. But I want you to make your point. You're on with Princess Di and with me. Hi, Chris, from the Catskills.
Good morning. For overburdened state budgets, lowering the Medicare age to age 60, you've been discussing healthcare, would actually help financially bail states out like Illinois, New York, and California because of the public sector state employee pension requirement.
I just have one question, and I don't know whether Princess Di would echo this. Why would we want to bail out Illinois, New York, and these other big states? Well, they're part of the scam. They don't need to be bailed out. Princess Diana, I'll let you go ahead, Princess.
I have the same result. It's as if that the Democrats really want to solve the problem, and all we have to do is open the books and look at a way where we can move the numbers around and do it right. The whole thing is fraud, 100% in Democrat states. This money is not real as far as something you can solve, because you've got to solve the problem of Democrat crime and theft.
Chris, you get a response.
I was looking at it from a perspective of, so when you have Medicaid and Medicare payments to health providers, hospitals, doctors, specialists, there is a cap on what can be charged. So there's a lot of overbilling that goes on within our healthcare system in the United States. And when private health insurance companies allow these providers to overcharge them, and it's part of the written policy. So this would help with that.
Well, I'll tell you what, Chris, I want to continue this discussion. As I said, today is going to be just a little short on time, but I want to continue this discussion. I would love to have Princess Diana join me and just have you for like a podcast maybe to talk about healthcare. I love this guy, Chris. He's so knowledgeable, but I don't support the idea of aiding blue state scammers. I'll just say that again. Sandra in New Jersey, got to go quick. Sandra, how are you? Welcome. Sandra in New Jersey, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Happy to hear from you and Princess Di. I just wanted to say that I think that the ICE people are so misrepresented, and I just want to give you an example of why. My sister has a driver. He's from another country. He has citizenship here, and the ICE people knocked on his door. They were looking for someone. They were most respectful, most professional, and he, in turn, was the same. My point is, they're good people, the ICE people, and if you act appropriately, there's no problem. And my sister shared that story with me yesterday, and I felt it's important for people to know they're professional.
Well, thank you, Sandra. We got the story. Princess Di, I want you to respond to that, please.
It is absolutely true, and there are so many states that are cooperating with ICE, and you don't see any of the nonsense and the violence, and that gets no coverage. Absolutely, you're right. I saw a viral video of a truck driver in a truck stop where the ICE agent knocked on his door and asked for his driver's license. He handed it over. He said, "Have a good day," and that was it.
Perfect.
Normal interaction, and the truck driver was grateful because he said there's a lot of illegal drivers and we want them off the road.
Right. Good point.
Thank you for the call. Silas, quick. You got 30 seconds to ask your question. You got to make it quick, Silas. Go ahead. Silas? Silas is gone. We got the dial tone, the good old dial tone, or something happened with the phones. Anyway, we got to wrap that up because it's time for us to, hey, enough of the dial tone. Makes me feel bad. Makes me think people don't want to talk to me. Come on, Matt. People want to talk to me. Please tell me that. Anyway, I'm just kidding.
We want to talk to you, James. Absolutely.
Thank you. Princess Di, always a pleasure, Supremo. We look forward to catching up with you next week or during the week if we can. And I don't have to tell you to be safe in the snow because I don't think you're going to have snow. But I know that our thoughts are with all of those that are experiencing this bad weather, and we hope that they're safe.
Absolutely. Stay warm and don't drive. That is my message. Stay inside.
Stay inside. We'll be right back, folks.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. James Golden Show.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
America's small caffeinated mom out there in the snowy Midwest where they had some kind of basketball game that drove them crazy. Football, whatever. Same thing. I mean, whatever. I mean, you know what I mean. I hope. Football. 16-0. Yeah,
football.
Okay, football. I don't watch amateur sports. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Isn't that what the Olympics are, James?
Don't watch those either. Now that you mention it. Hello.
Oh, my goodness. This is why I caffeinate, because some days I'm in over my hairdo. Oh, my goodness. And I have quite a hairdo. Oh, my goodness. Oh,
yeah.
It has
No, I
been
rarely watch the Olympics. I may watch one or two things, but I don't watch the Olympics. Please.
Yeah, well, I don't anymore, but we certainly have been watching Indiana University football. It has been an amazing week for Hoosiers and really for people all across the country. It's a Cinderella story, James. It's such a good story.
All around the country.
No, if you were following along on X, it was so inspiring to so many people. Yale in 1894 posted a 16-0 record. This is the first time since that year that a team has posted a 16-0 record. The teenager here at my house, I don't think he breathed or blinked once during the entire game. He was on the edge of his seat, and he told me, it made me laugh, but he told me in the days leading up to the championship, he said, Mom, I've actually prayed about it a lot. I just want them to win. And I said, you know what, buddy? I think God understands a boy's love for sports and for his team. And so after a very intense game, the Hoosier boys pulled it out, and it was just so heartwarming. For Fernando Mendoza, he is a fascinating and a stellar young man. It was a full circle moment because he grew up about 2 miles from the Hard Rock Stadium, which is, of course, where they had the championship. And as a boy, he and his family would go to watch the U of M football team in the Hard Rock Stadium. So he played football through high school, and his dream was to play for the University of Miami in that stadium in which he sat as a boy. Well, the University of Miami took a pass. They turned him down. And he said in a recent interview, this is how he looked at it. He said, it lit a fire under me. I was sad, and then I came to a realization. I'm not going to be a Miami football player. It wasn't God's path for me. What is so inspiring about his story and his attitude is because it reminds us all that a closed door is not a verdict. After Miami passed on him, he went to the University of California for 3 years, not his first choice. But that was the door that opened. And so he chose not to see the no from Miami as a verdict. He saw it instead as a redirection. It wasn't rejection so much as it was a redirection. So he took the redirection. He put in his 3 years at the University of California, and while he was there, this is what he did. He kept playing. He kept improving his skills. He practiced. He got better and bigger and stronger, and he grew in character. And one day, another door opened. And as I was writing, I thought about how so many good chapters in our lives begin with those 2 words, one day. One day, a new door opened for him. A new era started, and by the time the season was over, he had earned a Heisman Trophy, and he had helped his team to a national championship. There are so many lessons in his journey to be learned by all of us, even if you don't like amateur football. His family, this was the other piece of his story that people found so inspiring. His family, they're Cuban Americans, were there to watch him. His mother has multiple sclerosis, and she's wheelchair bound. As I watched her, she doesn't even move her arms. She's very much bound to her wheelchair. And so his father, yes, it's so moving. His father would maybe stand up to see a play, and when he would complete it, he would drop down into that chair right beside that wheelchair, and he would celebrate with his wife. His little brother, it just puts a lump in your throat. It was so lovely. The love between all of the family members was so evident. And his little brother, Max, would get so excited, weakly squirming. He would just leap and jump. And then when Fernando scored or did something spectacular, he would just fling his little body onto the family pile, and they would all hug, and everybody's beaming. It was everything that is heartwarming and beautiful and good. It was in the stands, and it was on the field. Fernando credits his family for their unconditional love and their belief. He said it kept him going, and it pushed him forward. And he said this, these are his words, "These are the people who built me long before football did." And so what he didn't say, but what he knows, is that these people and this love will sustain him and be with him long after the game of football is over for him. It was really just beautiful. I thought about how, as parents, and I'm a veteran mom, it is so hard to watch our kids struggle, to see a door close when you know how hard they have worked for it and how much they want it. To watch our kids take a closed door can be harder than taking one ourselves. At least that's how it feels to me. But watching my boys have those closed doors in their faces has taught me some important things. And one of them is I get a ringside seat to see what is inside those guys of mine. I see exactly what comes out of them in those times of disappointment. And, James, I have been happily stunned at the things that have come out of my sons. Resilience, patience, perseverance that I didn't even really know that they had. When any of us hit a brick wall, what is inside of us comes out. You can't hide it. And if you don't like what is coming out when you have that sudden interruption, it's your cue to change it. It is actually these redirections that invite us to grow. This has absolutely been true for me, and I have watched it happen for my children. The teenager who prayed for IU and who sat breathless took a hard no last year when he got a redirection from the college of his dreams. I watched that kid get back up with no complaining, no self-pity, and he dove harder into the work. He worked harder at the door that did open. It was not the one he wanted, but he poured himself into his classes, working so hard. I know what he was doing. He was learning how to learn. He was doing everything he knew to do to enhance that application, and he picked up his bat and he swung again. He swung again, and this time he got the acceptance and not the rejection. And he said again just last night, I have actually thanked God that it happened, because he sees now and he has the wisdom at 19 to see that this interim year at a different school is setting him up for success at the school of his dreams. And he thanks God for closing that door. And now he thanks God for opening it at the right time. It is so rewarding as a parent to see that developing in my kids. And it reminds me again that we should not ask for trouble-free lives for our children. We shouldn't. If we could make their lives perfect and problem-free, they would be weak, spineless. It's just like never going to the gym, never putting one muscle to the test. You will be couch-bound and ineffective. And I don't want that for them. I don't want it for me. I don't want it for them. So if you are looking at a closed door, you can interpret it as a rejection, or you can look at it as a redirection. And as my favorite teenager says, forward, always forward. That's what I'm thinking about today.
Wow. Love that story. Always forward. Rhonda, where can people find the essay?
It's on the dailybs.com in the columnist section.
And where can people find you?
RhondaShrouck.com, SCHROCK.
Rhonda, I want to ask you something. We have maybe 2 minutes left in the show today. I just want to ask you something. You and I and all of us, Princess Di, all of us here, we watch the things that are happening in this country. And sometimes, I get certain things get angry. I get angry about certain things. But at the same time, there's part of me that is trying to learn to let go, meaning this. The fate of the nation, the fate of the world, the fate of the creation is nothing that we can alter. It is in the hands of the Creator. And there are things, for instance, I've watched a series on the Revolutionary War, and it's unpredictable. Some of the things that happened that led to the American victory they were providential. Do you get the sense that no matter how bad things are, that there is a place that we can go to where we can calm ourselves and make it all right?
I know that 100% completely in every fiber of my being, and there's a term for that. And I practice it daily. It's called benevolent detachment. That is when I stop at different points during the day when I'm overwhelmed with the trouble in the world. And I just say, God, I give everything and everyone to you. Everything and everyone to you, because you're the only one that can carry this. And then I can live my life in peace. I can't possibly carry the weight of the world, the sorrow of the world, the disease of the world. So I carry it to someone who can, and I practice leaving it there. Absolutely, there is a way to let it go. You'll care about it, but to let it go. And in doing so, you're caring for yourself.
To have some peace of mind in spite of all the things we care about, believe in, and trust.
100%. All true, James.
Rhonda, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Catch up with you next week, God willing.
Yes, my pleasure.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Thanks for listening to The James Golden Show. You can hear The James Golden Show Saturday mornings at 7. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?
Listen to this podcast now
on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Idea Gen Global Podcast with George Sifakis.
I'm George Sifakis. In a world overflowing with noise, there is one forum where the world's smartest voices connect, where visionaries sit at the same table as innovators, and great minds don't just talk, they act.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.